I'm pretty sure YouTube, and then Twitch, of course. And we just got to get Facebook started, and we will begin. All right. So Facebook, go live. Telegram, start streaming. Let me just turn down my volume. What? Oh no, here we go. There we go. All right, cool. We're good. We are live, you guys. So today we have a very special presentation. We have Desiree Martinez, and she is going to be walking our viewers and some of our Lovisas through how they can help themselves using one of these templates. She actually does online video classes, or has a channel. Like, was it a YouTube channel, Desiree? Is it a YouTube channel? Oh, unmute your mic.
Look at me. There it goes. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Is it a YouTube channel that you do these video presentations to teach people how to do this on?
A lot of teaching and tutorials on there. And then on the Facebook group, I have a lot of templates. You guys are welcome to copy all you want.
Okay, perfect. Sorry. So let's do my intro script. So don't forget to follow all our pages, all our subscribe to all our channels on Rumble, YouTube. Check out our Facebook, our Twitter, our Twitch, and our Telegram as well. All the links are in the description. Don't forget to check out the bonfire stores as well. This is how we support a lot of the Lovisas. We don't like to use the word victims here. We like to keep it positive. So Lovisa means, would you tell for our viewers, Dottie, what sacred Lovisa means?
It means loud warrior.
So sacred, loud warrior.
Yeah, loud warrior.
So that's what so all of us that are on this, like a lot of the people that are going through the same CPS, like the Bowles family, Tamsin and Reggie Bowles. I know you're going through it yourself, Desiree. Jen's going through it. Dottie's going through it. So we can refer to each other as Lovisas, warriors, loud warriors. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear. But that's how we support our loud warriors. Is oh, got feedback. Can you mute your mic? Thank you. One of the ways we support our Lovisas is we have a bonfire store where you can show your support, and all the purchases that you make or that are made on there. All the funds go directly to our Lovisas and on our team, and any resources that we may need to make this show happen to help everybody else that's viewing and that may be going through the same thing. So that's what that's for. So this is not, we're not doing this for money. This is all that money goes for the people that are suffering because of this corruption. And so everything we cover is supposed to be covered under fair use. Just clarifying that for Fake Book, okay, and a few of the others. But anyways, that being said, you can check out the bonfire store at bonfire.com/fu-family-court, and then the other one is bonfire.com/just-td, as in just teed. Okay, and so that's where you can check out that hats, shirts, mugs, you name it. Dottie's done a great job of designing all those materials and products for you guys. So check them out. Show your support. With that being said, Desiree, why don't you segue into what you're going to be doing for our viewers today? What your presentation is about, and how and what we're going to be doing, because I'm excited that we're actually doing this on the air to help our viewers and help people that might be going through this, because I think it's going to be a real good teaching tool.
I agree. So, hey, everybody. I today am going to introduce to you a way to make sense of the chaos that they instill in all of us. It's called the timeline, and it is a lot of work. But in order to be able to relay your story to any court, to any person, to tell it on a podcast or to tell a friend, you're going to need to have it organized in your own mind so you can tell them in a way that they'll understand and not think you're crazy, because what they do is quite crazy. So I'm going to be showing you how to just do a simple timeline on events that have occurred, and you can relay it to the courts to be able to tell your side.
Do you think that they make it like that on purpose, to kind of, yeah.
Okay, so since we're using your cases as the inspiration for this, Tamsin, why don't you give Desiree a brief background just a brief overview, like we asked earlier, on your case, and then I'll help fill in any blanks or any questions that she may have relative to that as well.
Real quick.
I will try to keep it as brief as I can. There's so much there, and that even, like I said, it stems from 2016.
Just basically give her the basic rundown of what happened in 2016, how it happened. Not to just the timeline, like the date. What year it was. When this happened, why it happened, and what they were doing, how it relates to what they're doing now.
Well, it actually had started about April of 2016 because we were at a shelter with our toddler, and I was pregnant with our younger son. And some people had called because they saw some things that they took out of context. I mean, they called CPS. And so we were a day away from getting our housing, and CPS showed up. And it's hard to exercise your rights at a shelter, so we went ahead and talked to them. And it seemed okay for the most part. And then we got our housing, and they went to check on us once. And the worker looked me straight in the eye and told me that the case was closed. Then about 2 months later, when I gave birth of the hospital, they began making these claims. I mean, the hospital staff and so forth, there were claims made about me not feeding my newborn, and that I was acting crazy. And my husband was home with our toddler, and they went to go look at him and demand that he take him to their go-to pediatrician, the child snatcher. But we didn't know that's what it was at the time, and we knew that we weren't abusing him. So he was coerced into taking him there. And then he gets there, and they make up stories. They say that he was off the chart when we have proof that he was normal height and weight for his age. And they only took our kids. We have evidence. It's only because we were anti-vaccine. And but anyway, they came hours later to take my newborn, and they were in custody about 6 months. Well, actually 9 months, but 6 months out of our care, starting with traditional foster care, then kinship. But then the last 3 months they were with us under jurisdiction, and then they closed the case. And there was nothing until actually in November of 2019, one worker. Our boys are small for their age, by the way. They're healthy. They're small for their age. They use that against us. And so November 2019, a worker came because it was reported that our boys look skinny. She came and wanted to talk to us about our children. We said no. And she could see both of our kids through the door. But she turned around and walked away while talking on her phone. And we didn't hear anything for about 2 months. Nothing. And then January 10th, 2020, she comes back. I have communications reports that shows she called 911 to get the police to aid her with this on January 10th, 2020. She comes back with workers and the Tulsa Police Department. And my husband's at the store getting dinner. I'm there with the boys. And they demanded that I open the door and talk to the workers. And I still said no. And they're on video losing their qualified immunity, and they're on shaky legal ground. They knew it. They passed us off to the sheriff's department. And to make a long story short, about 7 hours later, what they did was they had typed up a fraudulent affidavit so they could get, because they had been demanding, because like I said, it had been reported that our boys looked skinny. So they were demanding that they go back to that same go-to pediatrician from 2016, but we weren't allowing it, of course. And by the time that they got the boys, they typed up a fraudulent affidavit to get authority to take the boys so they can take them to this unnecessary, unwanted medical check. And she wasn't available by the time. I mean, by the hour they got them, the boys, with the sheriff's department. So they took them to the ER instead, where they actually had a clean bill of health. They were on the chart. There was no dark circles in under their eyes, around their eyes, like it had been reported on the fraudulent affidavit. And the ER report proved that they perjured themselves to get in our home, and that the boys were fine. But they tried to keep that from us. The DA withheld this from discovery. They lied and said the boys were off the chart. and that's why they wouldn't give them back to us. But once we caught them in their lie anyway, they just went on to the next thing, saying that we didn't treat the autism that they gave Nigel back in 2016 when they forced vaccinated him. We weren't treating it with their brand of Band-Aid. So they
Okay,
were using that.
I have a quick question,
People-
not to interrupt you. I don't to interrupt you, but they transferred it to you said the state marshal or something like that? Isn't that-
The sheriff, because they
Okay,
lost their qualified immunity.
Okay. So does that transfer jurisdiction as well? Like, I don't, like, why would they, I'm curious why they would do that.
Why they transferred this to the sheriff's department?
Yeah.
Because,
No,
Yeah.
they did it because the Tulsa, Oklahoma Police Department lost their qualified immunity and they knew it.
Okay. All right. Okay. That makes sense. Okay.
yeah,
That's it. That's the only-
video and that, yeah. So they just passed that off because they're just because the sheriff's department, they're order followers, oath breakers. So they
Yeah.
don't look at anything.
Yeah.
So they just came.
That
They had a writ of assistance actually in their hands. My husband went ahead and opened the door because he didn't want them kicking it in. He did that under duress. And they just chased after me. Basically, they manhandled me in front of the boys and arrested me. I'm still facing charges. I have 4 misdemeanor charges. It's on video that I'm innocent, and they had no grounds to be in our home.
Okay, well,
But
hey,
they were-
happened to me pretty much, except for the manhandling. That's the only part they didn't do to me, but they barged into my home too. My kids weren't even in there. So I get that. They do that. It's horrible. So, hey,
Well,
I
when you
think it's time to stop the story, and I could relay what I got from it so everybody can see the purpose of the timeline.
Perfect. So you want me to bring? Shall I bring that up for you?
No, well, let me show her.
Oh,
what I-
perfect.
out of
Yeah.
her story, from you telling me your story, okay? This is what the outside world sees. On April in 2016, CPS was called and came. We told the case was closed. The hospital, on the same day, CPS toddler check ordered, doctor question mark. The reason unknown. Hours later, 9 months, kinship. November 19th, CPS called by question mark. And then there was a visit, 2 months. January 10th, they barged in. And then 7 hours later, there was an affidavit. Was that the same day? ER.
Yeah, they didn't come in. We didn't let them in the whole time, about 7 hours. But then finally went ahead and opened the door for them because he didn't want them kicking the door in.
Yeah.
And
then-
that was the sheriff's deputies that did that whenever he opened the door for, right? You're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
the DA discovery, when did you ask for it? You know, like stuff like that. So this is what the timeline is going to help everybody with. Okay.
Okay, but when there were parts that were going down low, so I can hear all at the very beginning when you were talking about 2016.
Well, yeah, I got just nitpicks, and it was kind of, I don't even know if it's quite organized. So I don't know if this all happened on 3
I
days.
know that.
You know what I mean?
No, it's all right. I that's why I'm here, because I can help fill in some of the blanks for you guys. Because I did cover
Yeah,
their
you
case
did.
extensively on a couple podcasts for our viewers about a month or two ago. Like they were on multiple shows and we went over all the evidence, and but I'll send you the links for those after the show. But basically, what happened was, a neighbor basically went to offer them. Was the 2016 incident where the neighbor was worried about the food, right? When she was offering the food.
No, that was 2020.
That was 2020. Okay, so what was just for Desiree? What was the first reason that they came? Was that you were because the hospital? You were in the hospital.
Well, in 2016, when I was
Yeah.
still pregnant,
Yeah. Okay, okay, I remember now. Yeah.
we were in a shelter and they saw things that they took into question. I mean, the residents there.
Okay.
I want you to know your
They
story is
actually,
unusual. It's not an unusual story at all.
Go ahead,
what we're
Desiree.
with this timeline, it's going to help just solidify the facts of the matter so that when we relay the messages to other people, they can say, who? Oh, the neighbor did what? They called. Who'd they call? CPS. Why?
Mhm.
Because they were skinny, they claimed. And after that, it was dismissed. Who dismissed it? the social worker? What was their name? You know, and we're just going to go down the list.
I love that. I think that's a great tool to help. So basically who, what, when, where, and why, people. Is that the only the four things you need to remember? Who, what, when, where, and why. No, that's 5.
Yeah.
Yes,
So those are
yes.
the 5 key factors. Keep those in mind. Those are the 5 W's, aren't they?
Yes, yes,
That's
yes.
it. Mhm. Yeah.
Yes. And then this way, when next time you go to tell your story, be like, my neighbor called CPS on me and my husband stating that my children were skinny and it was cleared on the same day, which was January or April in 2016. You know what I mean? So boom, all the facts are there. Everybody understands what happened and we can move on. And the timeline's gonna, you know, it's gonna help you, them to the courts and everybody else.
Tamsa, can you mute your mic? It's causing feedback. Tamsa, can you mute your
Wait,
mic?
say it again?
Could you mute your mic? It's causing feedback on our end. Thank you. Go ahead, Desiree.
Oh, Stephen, we want to pull up the timeline so she can see it.
Oh, sure. I can do that for you.
Awesome.
So let me go to my email real quick. Timeline, and this is the one you sent me. And now you have the one on the left, which is the fourth sheet, and then the timeline.xlsx. Which one?
EXLS.
Okay, you got it.
Now, so I grabbed my paperwork. In addition to my story, you're going to want to get your paperwork because that's their story. That's their side of the story. Okay. So you're going to want to go through your paperwork, as yucky as it is.
I don't want to take a tour right now. No, thank
There
you.
we go.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. You're just going to want to grab those documents that they gave you or whatever you can, whatever you have. And when, what, who, and then have your comment at the end. And if there were significance, you can highlight it, but do it all in a timeline in order of the who, what, when, where's, and whys. And that'll help everybody. Everybody.
I like this. This is a nice little template. I think this is perfect for everybody. I think this is something simple that everybody can understand. It's got the date up here, the description. So all our viewers will have to do to help them be able to help themselves is and actually. I think I'll do a tutorial for people who aren't too tech savvy one of these days real soon and show them how to use Google Docs, because I've done tutorials on my IT channel, like for my IT business. So I think that'd be a great resource as well that we could integrate into what we're doing here, and just to give people tools to help themselves. But if you know how to use Google Docs, if you're familiar with using spreadsheets or Excel, it's not that difficult. It's just you got your grid, you got your A, B, C, D columns, and your numbers down here, and so you make a timeline, and you have your description, your label up here for what each column is, your date for column A, your description, event, document title for column B, details, column C, and so on and so forth. And that just will help you organize your timeline and your chain of events so much easier too, because you'll put your date on this side, you'll put the description, event, and what happened exactly, basically, and then the details over here. And that'll help everybody keep it organized, I think. Isn't that right, Desiree? Isn't that where you're getting at?
As you discover more stuff we forgot about, just keep it in a separate column. Your thoughts, your experience, what you want to say was missing from that document or they lied about. Keep it in a separate comment, your comments all the way to the right, because that's stuff that you'll forget to tell others from time to time, because it is so much they bombard you with.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that, like, all these columns, D, E, F, G, all the ones that are not being used, you can put your extra notes that you want to add to this as you remember stuff too as well.
That's right, because when you walk into their courtroom, this is what their side of the story says, is all those documents and those document numbers and what they call that court day, and this will help familiarize you with what they labeled it as, when it happened. You can also find a lot of errors on their part with timelines using this, because you'll notice that they file certain things before they even say certain things or do things. You'll catch them a lot with this.
Okay. And it's probably also a good idea to do that. So you can fill in the blanks that they left out, or maybe attach evidence to,
right.
things to prove that that's inaccurate.
Exactly.
Definitely.
That's
okay.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
For this too, I'm sure.
Oh, you can. Okay, even better. All right. So it gives you an opportunity to submit to the court your evidence on your behalf.
Yeah, and it'll keep it safe.
They don't even care. They don't even care that anything was broken. the law or anything, or any of the facts from that day. The thing is, what they discovered since they came and took them was about not just autism, because they didn't know that when they came there, because he hadn't been diagnosed. And then we were trying to treat his problem that they gave him. And that's what they're using. And they are demanding that we take him, that we continue with their branded Band-Aid, as I said. And that's all really that they're focusing on.
We have reason to believe that they caused his injury of autism due to
vaccine?
Yeah.
Okay. I have another.
And then they were targeting her in this 2020 case because they're anti-vax.
Okay,
basically.
and then
Well,
you said.
not so much. That was more the 2016 case, but 2020 is more
Okay,
because
my mistake.
Okay, so the 2020. Okay, I'm trying not. Sorry. So, what in your state? What is your definition of, like, you said you were homeless, right? They targeted maybe because you were homeless as well.
well, they didn't. Well, you were just in a shelter.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is because
of that they targeted you guys. I would think. They do that a lot.
Because some of the residents there at the shelter, they saw things that they didn't like. So
Yeah, that's pretty common. That's one of the main places they get. Besides the schools, that's the number one place that they get their kids.
Okay, so what you said, there was 2 different times, like, incidents. Is this the last time that they did it because you were homeless? Is that right? Did I get that right?
No, it was just once we were homeless. That was 2016.
That was the first time. That was the first time.
All right. Okay. So then,
and then we got our housing. Yeah. Okay. And then we got our housing, and then I think they were just standing on the sidelines waiting for me to give birth.
Yeah.
Because 3 days later, 3 days after I gave birth, they came for our toddler and our newborn with false allegations. And the truth of us being anti-vaccine, that was truthful. It was on the petition that was the reason they were removing them. That was the only thing that was truthful.
And
Right.
this
you
one
have that on your petition for the court?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It stated in their document they stated that the family does not believe in vaccination.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's
They got away with it too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they lied about everything else, and we can prove it.
Okay.
And we've all and Desiree, we've also already proved that they were on the chart. I don't know if you know what the chart I'm talking about, the height and weight chart, right?
yes.
Okay, so yeah, we've already proved that. We did that on one of the lives when we covered the story. We went over all the evidence. Like, we did it. Like, didn't we do a 6-hour show for you guys to get everything covered that one day?
Yeah, the boys were on the chart. No, 2020, they just took their way.
Yeah. Well, bottom line, we were able to disprove all their freaking false allegations, but it didn't matter. All their evidence was ignored. Even when they presented this from their case in the get go, and it was ignored. But tell Desiree Thompson what they did to your guys' sworn testimony at one point, because I think that's an important part.
That is what we really need to focus on, because that will prove this to be more unlawful. Their court order and such. The thing is, at the trial, the adjudication trial of 2020. They changed their sworn testimony, and they have been hiding the transcripts from us to prove this, because that would prove their court order to be void ab initio.
That's what you're trying to get, right? Those records for the federal case, correct?
2 days of the trial, and they are covering it up.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. How were they hiding it? I'm just curious. Were they not?
They won't give it to us.
They won't.
Okay.
Tell even for our viewers who haven't heard your story before, briefly tell us what they told you when you went and tried to retrieve them, and what they told you, the lawyers that you're talking about. You told me the other day that you told me several times when they changed your sworn testimony, and how they were. Oh, you can't take those. You can only look at them while you're here, right?
First, okay, if you're talking about try and get the transcripts. At first, what happened was we had appealed the decision at the trial. So we're just waiting on the transcripts because of that. Then the appeal got sabotaged. That's a story within itself. So after that, we were still trying to get the appeal. The transcripts, and our lawyers were jacking us around. Any lawyer that we had from there on. And then the latest thing was that because it had been so long that they have a rule where when it's been that long that the transcripts cannot leave the courthouse, which actually I believe is a lie. And even if it's true, that's just a rule that doesn't trump rights. So rights those transcripts, especially when they commit fraud, as in changing our sworn testimony.
Was it a court-appointed lawyer or hired lawyer?
Well, it was only a hired lawyer for the the adjudication trial, and then she abandoned us after she lost that trial, and then we were back on court-appointed attorneys.
Okay.
Uh,
I just wanted to know where we were on as far as that. Yeah, these attorneys are actually instructed to not represent, they don't represent the parents.
I know.
like we are. Okay, they're actually there just to mitigate the resources and reunification services. That's what they're instructed to do. And if they do not follow the agenda of the HHS and the capacity building, they will be fired and removed. So they are in fear of even acting on the parents' behalf as it is. So don't ever, that's what their job description is. And they just don't tell
Well,
parents.
we actually tried to get the transcripts on our own, and the clerk's office was just, the clerk there was just playing games.
With that. If you're represented, they don't have to accept your paperwork because of it. Okay.
Yep, that's what happened to me.
I was told until that, as long as I had representation, they can hold hearings behind my back. They don't have to submit my paperwork because it doesn't represent him, who is a lawyer. So unless you get rid of your lawyer, you don't have the full authority to pull anything, really, if that makes sense. They have, like you said before, you're not able to represent yourself, so you have a representation. You give away your rights.
I wasn't ready to represent myself, but
You have to officially hire them, and then you should be able to get everything. There are ways. We both know that legally and ethically, they need to give this stuff to the parent because it's your rights to have it. But they bullshit their way around the laws inside those courtrooms to the point where they believe the thing is true.
They do.
So they believe themselves when they lie to you. They
Yeah.
believe that you don't have to give this stuff to you or you're not entitled to it. But it's not true. We all know that. But for right now, they all believe that bullshit. So, and you're the ones that take them to the federal court to make them do it. And then the word gets out, they have to do it. It's still time consuming. And what you need to do is the faster route because you're in the case. So you'll definitely have
She has trial this Friday. Is that correct? It's upcoming Friday?
Not trial, court.
Or court, I mean. So, and this is for what? Your family court or your criminal?
Family.
Okay, do
Okay.
you have any court watchers? Do you have a ADA court
I
watcher?
don't know that I can. I don't know that I can because it should be in person. And we had a virtual court hearing where the judge denied our media motion and kicked one advocate out. The only one we had. They don't like transparency, of course. So,
File for an extension and file your habeas, file for an extension.
wait, say that one more time. What?
We're gonna have to file for an extension due to you removing your lawyer.
Is there any special wording that you can use to remove your lawyer to kind of expedite anything, basically be able to submit evidence?
Yes, and actually, there's something called a Madsen motion that'll stop the court immediately. I was taught this term at the first hearing. I don't know how magically. Madsen motion.
That's the most.
Hearing and remove your lawyer and have you have a conference with the judge regularly with the lawyer and find out why.
Is that in every state? Because that.
Oh, I don't know. That's true.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That sounds amazing.
That's in motion.
I've heard this before.
Okay. I haven't heard it. Okay.
Yeah, I know, right?
Wow. That is amazing. Yeah.
And I immediately stopped my hearing, and then I was still rational, thinking they were at that time, thinking they were actually legal back then. So I didn't remove her completely because I was thinking she'd help me, but I did remove her eventually. But yeah, that stopped it and got me to talk to the judge about her and why I wanted to remove her.
Well, so you got to personally talk to the judge.
Yes.
Wow. That seems like a nice opportunity,
I had that judge removed.
Well, I need to tell you,
That's a good, that can be shivers.
He broke my hip away.
I need to tell you that what this hearing, what it's about, and for the record, we don't really want trial reunification because that's under jurisdiction, which they have no right to do that because we did nothing wrong. But even beyond that, we were in the middle of it because we're going along with it, and for now anyway. And the children's attorney is the one objecting to it,
We all
and
just
so
want,
that's what this hearing is about.
Oh, your
Right.
kid's attorney too. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and DHS is trying to play the hero, but they're the ones that have sat back and allowed this. So they're not the hero, of course. But yeah, it's a children's attorney objecting to the trial reunification, and so that's why we did. I mean, trial reunification is still in place right now, but the whatever we find out on Friday is supposed to be what will decide certain things. In fact, we were supposed to have trial reunification weeks ago, but she objected to it. That means we would have had at least had the kids home.
Right.
But,
you know what,
she's obviously objecting to the kids coming home full time, whether there's jurisdiction or not. And so we don't know what they say on Friday.
I
Is there,
one motion to make them pay a whole bunch of money for experts if they choose to continue accusing of XYZ. I'll find it for you.
Oh, that's a good one. That will legally force their hand to pay for the experts that she needs in.
Mhm.
so they'll
I
pay
like
you.
it.
That's great. Awesome.
Do you think that'd be effective in this situation? I mean,
Yeah, you know what? We'll see, because if she's saying that she has emotion, I think there is a possibility, because it's funny. I did a similar situation, not quite like with CPS, but like when I was doing legal paperwork for my neighbor. He had a slumlord basically in his, that was running his property, and we used to live in the same building, so I know, that slumlord basically gave us a nuisance eviction. We ended up moving right across the way, just not to spite him because he didn't own the building across the way. Anyway, long story short, he had a mold problem. I held my buddy with his legal paperwork, and we basically did the same thing. We filed legal paperwork with the local county courts here about the housing court, what the legal authority for the house for the housing rights here in Nevada. And we basically made it so he had to pay for a proper mold expert out of pocket, like he should have been from the get-go. And he actually sold the property afterwards. And I was sitting on the balcony when I seen him leave, packing up his shit, and he gave me the dirtiest look, and I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, we got you. So I've had my own experience with doing something similar in the legal realm, but just from a different perspective. But and I know that works, that can be done. So I'm very I'm hopeful and confident that if Desiree's saying there's a way to do it, there's a way to do it.
yeah, but to give you a background, the children's attorney, it could be, I mean, my understanding actually is because Timogen, our younger son, had told her that he liked the foster parents better because they had better stuff. And so that's
and it
why
sounds
she
like
was
the children's attorney's been talking to the kids too much, even though they're not supposed to.
well,
And
Glenn doesn't talk. Remember, Nigel doesn't talk.
Well, no, but
That sounds like grooming to me.
Yeah,
That
no, it's
sounds like
because like
grooming.
didn't Timogen
Right.
report, like, say something on video, one of the Facebook videos when you had the kids, that was like, he
Yeah.
said something to the effect, oh, sounds like you got to get your lawyer. Like, what do they put? And then they try. Oh, and then on the Zoom call with the Zoom, was it the Zoom meet when we advocated for you guys, they tried to throw that around at you guys and try and make it look like that was your fault. When he said that, did you remember that? Do you remember that they were trying to throw that?
On the video.
Yeah, I remember when they tried to throw that, and tried to say that was your doing. No,
Yeah.
we were saying we thought it was their doing because there was no reason that he should be doing that, talking about it. Why would you know that?
I have a question. I have a question for you. Did you file any complaints about the injury or anything, or any kind of, or was this, when did that happen? When the vaccine injury?
Yeah, approximately what time frame?
Or I guess my question is, was he in your care when it happened? I guess what I'm asking.
No, he was in what, CPS's care when
Okay.
we suspect that happened.
Yeah.
But they have not have they admitted to it at all yet, or no? Or we just suspect?
They covered their own ass big time on that.
Okay.
I'm sure
We
there's
suspect that they
probably
covered it up,
something.
but we suspect that's the cause of his autism.
Yeah.
Well, and
And logic falls into place because the petition, there's a petition, the 2016 petition, and 2020 we had paperwork. I mean, there was documentation sent to us from 2016. We didn't see it until 2020, but the documentation had shown that the worker and supervisor, I mean DHS, had gotten together that day. It looked like, and talked about our anti-vaccine status, and the doctor too, the child protection doctor. Like they were basically like colluding, it looked like, to take them because we're anti-vaccine.
So
It
did
was
he
not
get?
discovered. It wasn't shown to us until 2020.
Yeah,
has he
now it
ever
makes
been
sense why they would start doing it then, because like look at what happened.
Has he been tested before for autism while he was in your care? Or was it
Heavy
after?
metal poisoning? You mean like heavy metal poisoning or what?
Or no, has he been tested for autism?
Was he
Not heavy
tested for
metal.
No,
autism?
because he wasn't having any problems before then. I mean, he was fine. And then, I mean, he was a little slow in development, but he was fine. He wasn't autistic, nothing like that. And when they took him in 2016, he was actually very fine. We have video footage actually, and this has been shown on here about
Yeah.
2 weeks prior to that. Him walking around, talking, walking. There's no autism there.
Yeah, he was
They-
playing on his phone, pretending to make a phone call like his parents do, and then
Yes.
he's like, and then what was it? Reggie said, "Oh, if you mess with that coat, you're gonna get in big trouble." And then he said, "That's okay."
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was clear. I mean,
Yeah,
clearly,
autistic
and that's
kid.
video evidence that we got proving that what their narrative is bullshit.
Yeah. So
Yes.
how old was he when he got the vaccine injury?
Well, he started regressing. When we got him back, he was like 2. And they took him when he was like 1 year and 8 months. And I believe they vaccinated him the first day.
What
And
was the
MMRs
vaccine?
So that it had to be behind our backs over the course of time while he was in state custody in 2016.
Which one?
Okay.
Let's try not to use let's try to use the
Okay.
other terminology, jab. Just I don't want to get
Oh, okay.
shut down on
Jabba,
YouTube.
The Jabba do.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because we are on YouTube. I didn't even think about that. I just
Oh,
want to
and
make
I'll
sure
say
we cover our
and I'll
bases.
actually say I'd rather say neurological damage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Well,
which
sorry,
one do you
sorry,
suspect that
sorry,
it was
y'all.
that they gave him that caused it? You
Could be
suspect?
MMR, could be DTaP, probably both, maybe.
What was it you were telling me
Okay.
yesterday about making requesting orders for heavy metal poisoning testing that would either prove or disprove that they did this?
There's heavy metal poisoning.
Yeah,
testing for-
didn't you say you could request some records yesterday when you were
Inventory. Okay, now your dad was a doctor, so you should be familiar with this. I had a
Yes.
family member that worked in a doctor's office, so she told me about this a while back.
Yeah, I know there's a test they can do.
They give the vaccine. I think you already know, Stephen, because your dad was a doctor.
Yeah.
If
Makes
they
sense.
give a vaccine or anything, they have to take inventory.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense. Oh, yeah, you're as far as records go. Yeah, you need a request for the records. Gotcha. Yeah, you need.
So-
to
Yeah, but
see the
I mean,
records.
we had talked about doing that, but we figured they're so corrupt that they may even.
You can try. I mean, I know they make it almost impossible out here to get your hospital records in Nevada. Like you can't even. You used to be able to walk into the hospital and just get them in person. Now you can't even do that. And then they made this bullshit portal which barely gives you anything, but that's not your full record. It's ridiculous.
And guys, I have motion to compel evidence in the federal court, and then you have motion to dismiss based on failure to compel evidence. Okay, those are 2 we could do. I have,
Okay, let me write that. Hold on, let me write those down. Hold on, one moment,
Yeah,
please. Let me write this-
yeah. Take your time.
Stephen, I sent you the link to the Facebook page with all the documents. It should have motion to dismiss based on
Got it.
failure.
I'm checking my email now.
Okay, cool. That one's a good one.
Okay, can you just instead of me writing them down, can you just send them to me? You just send them to me.
Hey, what is a motion to compel discovery? I know what it means, but I'm just curious. So maybe we can explain to people that are listening what it means.
That means you're asking the courts to make them show evidence. Because, yeah, this seems to be an across the board issue. And what I ended up doing in my fight was, of course, I went to the HHS, which is Health and Human Services, Child Welfare, whatever you want to call them. Filled out the paperwork they ask you to fill out to release your documents. They ignored it. Then I did it again. They ignored it. So then I went to the court and I wrote all the times I've called everybody. I called the lawyers, I called CPS, I went in there personally, and all my attempts to get documents, I wrote down on with dates, times, and who, what, when, like I said, who, what, when, where, why. I showed the court my efforts, said I want it dismissed because of this. That same day they called and said they have my shit ready. Okay, so you just have to make them.
I'm going
do
to
it.
share my screen now for our viewers.
Perfect.
Can you guys read all this legibly? I'm going to zoom in a bit so it's easy to read for our viewers. I hope everybody can see that. Anyway, so go ahead and get started. Tell us what these are.
Oh.
What's all here, Desiree?
Now this is their Facebook group, right? Is that right?
That's all
Ye-
the documents that
yes.
are there that everybody's welcome to. Let me just get on.
Okay. Now, how easy is it to find the templates? Is there a certain area that everybody can go to, or do you have to go separate by your state?
Sign documents, hashtag documents, the number
Okay.
sign
Okay.
on my group. Or END CPS, END CPS, that's also mine. You can find me and then put the documents to find those.
Okay. So like hitting the link to you will get us to them, the
Yeah.
template. Okay. Oh,
Yeah, I'll be posting the link you guys in the description and the show for our viewers after the show.
So I'm jumping on Facebook so I can get there because I had that on my laptop. But motion to dismiss based on failure to submit evidence, it should be in there.
Hey, I'm just gonna just step away just for a couple seconds, for like a minute or two, you guys. I just gotta just take a call real quick, but I will be here. I'm just gonna leave the screen share right here. Go ahead and just we'll
I'm getting on right now and
all
then
right.
I'll open it up.
All right, sounds good.
okay. We'll be here waiting.
So yeah.
Keep the conversation going, you guys.
Now, I
talking.
have a question. Okay, I filed a motion to compel discovery and a motion to squash evidence. That was something similar because I had an adoption trial, and they only did a discovery on my, asked me questions. Now during the adoption trial, they did ask questions that they were supposed to use in the discovery, but my attorney used it or asked it during the trial. So I filed that along with the motion to dismiss the adoption, and it didn't get granted. So, so
Yeah.
maybe it's a little bit of a flip of what you're doing with that, right? Is that sound, because it sounds kind of like
They're about the same, it sounds like.
yeah, like
Yeah,
okay.
I did motion to suppress evidence.
Okay, suppress. So suppressing it, they withheld it, right? Is that the same thing?
Let me
That
say,
means-
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'm back, you guys.
Okay, all right, because it's different in Indiana, so I'm just making sure I have the right
Same thing.
definition.
Squash, I think, is the same thing, except
Is everything in that one Google Drive link,
Okay.
or is it just
Okay.
are there several links, Desiree?
way too many. Like, I wish it wasn't so chaotic. One of these days, huh?
So people are gonna have to scroll to get to everything, right? Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, there's a bunch down here too. Okay, gotcha. But that's a great. That's got all the templates in one place at least. So that's great for our viewers to have.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much this matters because with me, they're going by fruit of the poisonous tree. I mean,
Yeah, but I mean, but aren't there? But like legally speaking, isn't there stuff like you're gonna force their hand because you're doing some of these motions? That's what they're for, Desiree. Is that not right? Like, is that because I know that there are ways to do this. I've done it myself with the housing authority here, in Vegas, as far as the law goes.
To take you serious.
And it would come in handy if you had evidence to cancel out their motion. That
Yes.
that.
So that's going to help too. So it's effective, but you got to
I need my
file your shit. Yeah, you got to file.
Okay, one question I have.
transcripts. I
Is
really
that-
need my transcripts.
Is that one question I have, and this is about an affidavit of truth. So
Okay.
is that something that you could attach to it, or you really don't need to when you file these or fill these out? Like an affidavit of truth, because I've heard that's the highest standing thing, but
I mean, would that help, Desiree, or is that
Right.
relevant? Is that going to do anything, or will it add to the case?
or do you not need an affidavit of truth? Okay.
Question again?
Okay, so when would it be a good idea to include an affidavit of truth along with this? Because I heard that the affidavit of truth is the highest standing because somewhere in our file there is a affidavit of truth that they filed that it's secret, it's hard to find. Is that true?
I've heard about the affidavits. I've always called them.
What do you call?
I never had the money to get it.
Okay.
I never had the money to notarize my stuff, unfortunately. So I just did what I could do at the time, and that was sign it, stamp it, and film myself handing it in.
Well, certified mail is another method that works as well. which is is legal, is considered legal, is considered a legal mail. At least in courts. I mean, I don't think it works with UPS. It's you got to go through USPS, at least out here, because it's not right, in order to get anything done legally. But that's the best route. I think if you do certified mail and get a return receipt, you'll be good.
Certified.
Definitely. What I did was
hold on, you guys. I'm gonna go take this call. I'll be right back. I'm sorry.
Okay, Desiree. What I was curious is that if you do that, should you do attention to a certain person, for that?
When you do
Like when you send something certified, and how you can put that they would have to sign it, like to a main restricted person to sign for it.
well, okay, so I'm guessing like you're putting on notice to the court, right? You're telling the
Right.
court truths about you that they refuse to hear.
Okay, so how would you get proof of service? I guess what I'm asking.
Signature
Okay.
or service, proof of service, but certified mail I've had returned to me. So just an FYI, sometimes you have to go in, hand it in, and record yourself doing that. So there's no question, but when they stamp it and sign it.
Get it date and time stamped. Get a date and time stamp for sure, for proof that you.
Clerks.
Right.
Yeah, they received it at the front desk. So they can't lie and say they didn't get it.
Okay. Right.
So you just walk it in if you can't afford the other stuff, because I never could.
No, they want a lot for their services. They want a lot for one paper, one page. I think it's like 20 cents or something. Or
Yeah, you can't even afford copies half the time.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. Walk it in, do what you got to do, I guess. You can even hand it, in worst case, if you're that poor, handwrite it on a napkin and sign it, make them take it.
Right. Well, I'm just wondering because who would you who would you send it to certified to make sure? Well, I guess if there's like another.
Of course. Child
Right.
welfare case.
Okay. Yeah.
Family court, and then to the county council, who are the attorneys. Those are the attorneys of the other side. Okay. The county council, and family court. And if you're in juvenile, you would address it to the juvenile division. It's going to federal. You don't really have to certify it to a federal court, I don't believe, but you can. It's just the case. Why not? But I did too, because I didn't know a lot of the stuff either. So when I don't know who to send something to, I send it to everybody.
Okay.
At the beginning, I didn't know what court was what, or what the difference was. Who knows? I didn't know it was state, federal, and then different ones. I didn't know that.
I know, right? Yeah.
Everybody knew what was going on. Okay. Every court had it in their box. Every clerk knew my kids were kidnapped from me illegally.
Wow.
Okay. At the very least, they're not going to be invited to their Christmas parties or they're going to be talked about. These judges are now going to look bad in front of their peers, the very least, because you know what? It's not my fault that they have all these rules and don't represent me properly and don't even pay for my fight against them when they started it. It's just a whole bunch of bull. So I let everybody know. I told everybody. If I didn't know, I told everybody. And it's also safe that way.
The more people know, the better.
Yep. I just submitted it to everybody. And if you can do that, make them look bad around their peers, at the very least.
Interesting. So you couldn't e-file it, like a lot of courts are doing e-file.
No, I won't let you.
Yeah, I'm darn it. I don't like. Darn it.
I actually will not accept it, and they won't accept it for me at the federal court because of my electronic issues. Because at the time when I filed, I was homeless and I didn't have access to the internet every day. So everything had to be by mail.
So you let everybody know. That's a good thing. Good news. Wow. She walked up, ran up, and told everybody, the judge.
Well, that shadow,
janitor,
that shadow that's casting on your face, and it almost looks like a projector. Like when I was in small mode, when I had it minimized, I was like, "Whoa, what is that? Is that a projector on in the background?" And I was like, "No, it's just a shadow. Holy crap!"
Wonderful effects. girl.
Wow, that's
Wonderful.
pretty cool. I thought maybe you had a filter effect on or something for a minute there.
Cool. Isn't that cool?
No, it's fine. We can see you. It's just like it's just distracting sometimes a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's all right. It just
I
tripped
didn't
me
feel
out. I
like-
thought it was like I thought you were using one of those filters. I was like, whoa, what is that? But I maximized that. Oh, it's just a shadow. Holy crap.
I was like, cool effects. That was awesome. Good job.
That was
Girl.
awesome.
Okay, so let's get back to the focus. So we got our timeline. So when you finish your timeline and get it all solidified,
Okay.
we're gonna go ahead and do a habeas corpus, and there should be one right there in the Facebook, my habeas corpus. You're going to file that with your juvenile court or your family court, and just in case they don't submit it to the Supreme Court for you, send it to the Supreme Court clerk on your own.
And for our viewers, this is it right here. Okay. Actually, all you really have to do in your browser is you press Control F on your keyboard, and it will let you search by term the whole web page, and then you just type in habeas, and it will bring you right to what you're looking for. And you can do that for any of these documents if you know what specifically you're looking for. Type in the name of it; it'll help.
And
That'll
the
help you
name-
shortcut to every document you need. It's
the
a little
name-
tip that'll
Right.
work. Short keyboard shortcuts make things a lot faster than having to do everything by mouse. You guys.
Right.
But they
And
work.
and then the name may change by state, like a little bit, or you might
Yeah,
make
you just do a little
state by
variations on
state.
or try different words that are related that you know that will bring up the result that you're looking for based on what you think of what it's called or whatever, you know. Yeah, and if you don't, just then but it'll find whatever you're looking for if you got the so if it has a match, it'll find it.
And
So
that-
are you saying send this to the Supreme Court? I mean, the state Supreme Court?
The habeas corpus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the state-
make sure you're in your state and you're doing it the right way, because it might vary a little bit, like as far as names go, and they will hold that, truth.
Right past the appellate-
And what is the fastest way? I'm a little lost. What is the fastest way to get this to the Supreme Court?
You're gonna, okay, that's the way to do it. Go to the Supreme Court website. They'll also have forms for you to fill out for the habeas corpus. In
Okay.
addition to my habeas corpus, I did what you see there. That was my argument and 2 questions of law in addition to it. But also, okay, so
Won't that help establish like because you're quoting case law to establish precedent there, aren't you, when you're doing that?
yes, and then you're gonna get your paperwork, you're gonna get your transcripts, you're gonna get all that because you're legally now entitled to it. You
Yes,
can make-
because you're filing it the way it's supposed to be filed. Attempted, like when you file it properly like that and you force their hand, they have to.
And then anytime can you write something that you claim you're competent, or you shouldn't probably not even do that, because that will show you're competent by doing this.
So here's the kicker, you don't even have to fire your lawyer at the family court to do it, because they would assign you a new lawyer at the appellate court for an appeal. Your habeas corpus, I believe you're gonna do on your own anyways, so you don't have to worry about firing them. to
That's
file
perfect.
them.
Yeah, because they won't file evidence for you. You have to do it yourself, most likely. Not all, but
Actually, a really great way to win these Supreme Court cases has been to argue that you have an incompetent representation. It's actually a well-recognized win. Okay.
Well, they are. I mean, they're pretty sloppy. I mean, so clearly they're incompetent. That's a great angle. I think that would be a great approach. I did not know deep and know that. That's been a good way to do it. Thank you for that insight, Desiree. I know our viewers
Definitely.
appreciate it too.
The only ways to win, guys. Probably one of the only ways. There's not many ways to win that one.
I could fire my attorney and I put incompetent and he failure to represent and failure
You
to.
have to fire him for this one, though.
Oh, okay.
If you want to submit court paperwork to your family court locally, you have to fire them because they can say that you're not represented, so they don't have to.
And then I got a copy for motion to withdraw. So make sure they withdraw too, because sometimes it'll say, oh yeah, but they won't. So bug them until they send like a motion to withdraw, because they'll keep it open as long as they could. That was my experience. So we filed a motion to withdraw.
And folks, we'll put the links to this Facebook group in the description, plus the the other the timeline template that Desiree has provided us. So we'll put that up there for you guys, as well as all the other links that are normally in our thing, like sources we cover that were presented in the live. So that we'll have that for our viewers. I'll probably do that either. I'll either do it after the show, or I'll have one of the team members do it for me. So we'll get it up there for you guys, and so you have resources to work with to help guide you. And that's great. And is there anything else that we can cover as far as like doing because I know there's a lot, and I would love to do a follow up. In fact, we should probably do a regular thing on this. I think would be a great tool for our viewers. I think would help a lot of people.
I think so too. The more people we can share this information with, the better, because it's a fight that they're not alone in. It's a nationwide, guys.
Yes, it is.
I also have a comment as well. I
Well,
requested.
Go ahead, Jen, and then after you're done, I was going to say it's international actually, because we interviewed somebody just not too long ago, Luba, right? Who's
Yeah.
out of the UK
Oh,
that
yeah.
this is happening to too.
Yep, through Medicaid, through all that, all the channels that happen to in every country, probably most likely.
Well, it looks
No,
like the
I haven't-
AFCC is the main like organization that's pulling all the strings
that-
internationally, because they are
that-
internationally filed corporation basically, or is it a
Yeah.
nonprofit? They're whatever it is. They're the ones that are making all the rules for these lower local. It seems like from we got a document a while back, Desiree. I don't know if you've heard of it. ACA. What is the name of that document or that book, Dottie?
I told her about it, but I can't find the doc.
I have it somewhere.
Okay.
I know I have a copy
The
of it, but I'm the one who ripped it.
AFCC.
AFCC net, right?
That's AFCC is the organization.
But what was the name of the book though? It was AFCC.net, right? Or AFCC net?
What does that stand
I'm
for?
not sure.
I think it was like a model thing where it shows the model of all the different procedures that they are going to do. Okay, one more quick.
But it
super,
follows
super-
the money. The book.
Yeah. It follows the grant money basically. And it
Okay.
exposes the corruption that's the one pulling, that organization is the one actually pulling the strings for all these lower courts.
Well, I got the capacity building in DC teaching all this bullshit wrong, and
Wow.
I kept assisting them.
Say what happened?
The capacity building in DC, in Washington, DC,
Uh-huh.
are to distribute all the training manuals for these guys that I've been auditing. It's called the Center for States, not the State Department, but the Center for States Capacity Building. They
Uh-huh.
train judges and social workers. And they have a partner, ICF, who also helps them. That is who trains everybody. Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Wow. So they're doing it actually incorrectly then. That's
Yes.
sad.
We
So-
are making legislation in Congress and manipulating it into the terminology and agenda that is completely un-American, and sharing it with everybody nationwide. And it's totally not Congress's intent or spoken. I mean, you could
So
see it.
so what you're saying is these people in DC are doing this intentionally.
Absolutely.
They're absolutely intentionally committing treason
Yes.
by breaking the law and changing the law, the letter of the law by doing this. They're oh wow.
I don't even think they're American, half of them. And if they are, they're radical social workers and Marxists. I do not believe any of these people are American.
No, I don't. I agree with you on that note for sure. All these people that have been complicit in this and that are in government positions have been completely. They've showed their colors. At least now we know who our enemies are.
And they come out and say everybody's a target now.
Yep.
Everybody.
Does everybody follow the same kind of guidelines? Is that
Tell our
varying?
viewers, Desiree, what you just told me the other night when we were touching base for today's show. About what is it in their mandate now? They're going out there. What was it? Kids that could be in potential harm now. So and is this on a nationwide scale, or is this just a local, state, or what is it?
Yeah, because I made a point that it was children at risk means risk of entering foster. Well, now they want their fix it all suggestion is to just, if they by chance will be at risk, let's just spread our tentacles to more children. And the director's front page says healthy families are now their target, and people that aren't victims of harm or imminent maltreatment is the word. Imminent maltreatment. That's when you're not actually harmed. Even the whole family is now going to need services. So whether or not you like cousin, anybody, And healthy and resilient families also are going to be in need of their services at one time or another, is what she says.
So basically, in their own words, they're coming after everybody's kids now. They're triple. No, they're bad. They're times 100 doubling down, if you will. I don't think I even know the terminology to describe that many double downs. But it sure looks like they're going all out now, coming for everybody's kids. But
coming after everybody. Yep.
Wow.
Guess how
it seems like they're making it.
Huh?
They're making it easier to do it, and it's like an international thing. It's kind of like a one-all maybe like document. You know that.
Who would think this craziness?
That is not. I mean, never. I thought that just happened in third world countries. I didn't think it happened in America. No way. That couldn't happen. I mean, that was shocked.
Yeah, and so if you comply too fast, they will see you as a target. If you don't, like, if you're combative in any argument, even within their own organization now, they will decide you are, what was the name? Resistant.
Like a danger, like, or you're a threat or a risk or something like that.
Their word. Yeah, they have words.
Yeah.
Resistant, not the cool kind, but
right.
Yeah.
Okay. They have their words. Right.
But you can't take too long. And if you continue to be resistant to their agenda, all those reasons are reasons you'll become a target, even within their own organization working for them. So yes, everybody is at risk right now.
And it's even more prevalent as well if you are on like do federal assistance, food stamps, whatever, because a lot of people, because I'm like, well, I can't get too personal with it right now, but you know, like they will, if you like get child, or if you get a, like, say TANF or cash assistance, you know, then they will make you file for child support and things like that. So, but
That's
once you
targets for them, but yeah, just keep in mind.
like, well, I guess it's people that are on assistance are targeted more often, or maybe, I mean,
And if you work for them, or you're a cop, or you're and you need to question anything that they're doing in the wrong way, guess what? It's your turn.
Your family could be
Absolutely. So they threaten, and they even offer dividends.
Prizes, maybe, or do they offer incentives, like special incentives for that, or
they say dividends in the future if you comply with their agenda. They actually say
dividends. Okay, that sounds really fancy.
For compliance, and they threaten targeting for resistance.
Wow, that seems kind of like very fancy wording. Okay.
Yep.
Wow. Oh, that's all. I mean, that's so we're about an hour in, so I think we're going to segue into Dottie's segment, and I think we should do a regular update, maybe something even on a separate day.
No, I didn't get that done, Steven. So we can go ahead and do whatever you want.
Well, let's just do a like a little discussion roundtable. Like we can do whatever we want.
Okay.
It don't matter to me.
We can discuss anything you want.
Yeah, so you're all welcome to keep talking. If you want to stay on, you guys can all do like a little round table. I think that would be great, and we'll all just kind of discuss the issue back and forth and come to a common consensus on what, you know, like you know, that's the whole reason of the free speech. That's the whole purpose of free speech, is so we can all talk amongst ourselves and come to a common consensus and solution as a group mind, as a collective of the people. And that's what that whole purpose of free speech is for, you guys. And I want to make emphasis on that, because that's why we have our, you know, our that right.
Yep.
Okay, but wait, is there anybody out there? Is anybody asking any questions before we?
Yeah, do any of our viewers have any questions? If you want,
I can't see
I would
any.
love. Go ahead and say. I'll let you do it, Jen. So, Jen, I apologize for cutting in. My bad. Go ahead, Jen.
Oh, I gotta go back. I gotta actually go. I might have feedback though.
Go for it.
Because I gotta go back and look and see. I think because I can't see the screen.
I don't think anybody's asking any questions as of yet. But if any of our viewers that are watching would like to ask any questions, they're welcome to do so. Drop it in the chat, and we will see. And we'll read it on the air for you guys and see if we can answer it as best we can. And see what our team of experts can do for you.
The thing with us,
but one thing really quick, the Affidavit of Truth, I think, can't you like go like toward your, not towards, I'm sorry. Can you read along your timeline and write it out kind of like that? And
Great
that you
idea.
have evidence or you have something that maybe contradicts their original finding or whatever, however you want to word it to
You can
show
do
that.
it. Yeah, that's one way to do it.
Okay, but include that in there or something like that. So
Absolutely.
they have to prove it wrong the same way, but that might make it stronger or it just,
Well, the proof to them and proof to us are two different things, unfortunately.
right. Yeah, right.
They have legal deference as experts in their court, because it's a tribunal. These courts are not civil court. They are administrative courts, but they're still supposed to give us due process. I'm surprised she's even getting a trial. I didn't even get a trial. So
What is an administrative court? What does that mean? For
That-
people
that it is administered under the United States president, which is a branch. There's the administration branch. So everybody, the IRS, the probate courts,
You mean the administrative branch, correct?
Yeah. It's all under one umbrella of administration to delegate and deal with government tasks of the people. So the family court is one, juvenile court's another.
They're all that way now. We don't even have a court of law in the country anymore.
Civil court is a person and a person, or a person and a company kind of deal.
Yeah.
But
right.
these aren't like that. These are tribunal type.
Yeah, and they certainly seem to be operating. What you're telling me is, so what you're telling us is that it's all the rules are coming straight down from the very top in DC, basically.
From
So all these administrative courts. So that's why we're seeing this on such a massive scale. Correct?
is, I would say, the third layer down from
Okay.
the president. Third layer down is where it's getting shifted. Not the
Gotcha.
president, not his cabinet, and not theirs, but right underneath. So as soon as it gets passed in Congress
Mhm.
and gets to the translators in the administration to delegate these new rules,
Uh-huh.
that's translate it wrong.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's coming out of, and what you were telling us just not too long ago, they're doing it wrong, right?
Correct. They're absolutely training incorrectly, illegally.
And that's Congress, correct?
No, that's the guys that get it from Congress and
Gotcha. So whoever gets it after they get it run past them, basically.
right. And the Congress
Okay, gotcha.
to translate their words to these people. And that's the problem. I think Congress needs a translating branch. I think they need a second tier. I think in order to balance out the translation from Congress to the administration, Congress needs translators.
Okay.
Right. Because isn't there like a Magna Cart or something? There's different branches that do different things, right?
I think they're gonna have to spell it out, just like you
Exactly.
had to spell it out in your case, Dottie, when you had to freaking basically make them put in writing that you can file on your own behalf and that you're representing yourself. God, whoever thought you'd have to take it to that freaking level, you know?
It shouldn't have to be that way.
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't.
And when I filed to have the standby counsel that they've, joined to me, without my permission, he should have withdrew from my case, which he still has not done.
Right. Because they don't represent the parent like we all assume a lawyer is supposed to do.
This is a
right?
criminal trial. This isn't even a family court trial.
Yeah, this is for her criminal trial. They're trying to silence her and give her 7 years for something she didn't even do.
Now that's shame on them. Get a replacement or no.
Well, the entire 21st Circuit recused themselves. And so it went to the Supreme Court and it's a visiting judge now. And I don't even know where to, even if I wanted to transfer it to, unless I would go to the federal court.
All these terms like visiting judge, standby attorney.
De novo is the word. De novo request. That means they have to see everything. They start over brand new. And
Okay.
usually they'll do a panel of more than one judge so that it's more balanced and fair. Because typically, I know they all golf together, but when it comes to work, they are supposed, especially stuff that's in the public eye, they tend to follow the rules. So if you can
So
get
what is that motion that they can file? You're just talking about to do that.
DENOVO, de novo.
DENOVO.
DE like day,
Uh-huh.
de novo. N-O-V-O.
So
Uh-huh. and then-
DENOVO.
Got it. De novo.
All right, that's for our viewers. DENOVO. De novo.
Request them to oversee the whole case from the start all over again, and hopefully they'll hear your side this time, and it's in the eyes of the public.
Now, is that a court, or is that a filing, or what is it? What specifically is that?
That means it's a request. It's a motion for
Okay.
or motion or petition to de novo request. I know it's a de novo request. I asked for it from the administrative council specifically because a lot of my issues are administrative with the child support and whatever. I don't have any criminal, but she does. So definitely take it out, take it higher, because criminal is different. They don't usually do this crap in criminal. So I'm surprised. And yeah, get them to look at the whole case and why your criminal charges were brought to you, because my God, it was unfair and unjust and biased and all that. So get your timeline together so you can explain it.
And I'll give you an opportunity to look into your entire file to see if there's anything missing that you can document and say, hey, this is missing, here I have it, and things like that. So you can incorporate it in your file.
Yep, you're going to get your story straight and orderly, and then you're going to get what you want from them and do that. You want them to look at the whole case, which is the de novo request, and then you're going to want them to reverse any family court hearings because of XYZ. You'll have to look up the laws for that, but you're going to have to specify what you want from that court, okay? Because they won't just do it.
Make them work for you and tell them how you need them to do it, and they'll do it. And yeah, don't give them choice.
Would you suggest that for mine, de novo?
I was just going to ask the same question.
Criminal, definitely, because criminal, they're not supposed to do this crap that they do in the family courts and juvenile courts. In the criminal court, they generally don't do this. They usually follow the law because there's a lot of criminal law,
right?
And usually, public defenders typically represent their clients. So I
have a public defender.
Yeah, and typically they are bullied around by these probation officers and what.
Yeah, Dottie's in a case where it's a situation where they're both colluding at this point.
Yeah,
not good. So yeah,
they're actually doing that to Tamsin too. With the charges she's got, the criminal charges they're trying to get her with.
Yeah, so just add it all together. We'll just combine them.
Or, go through it and see what you need to include and see where you can, strengthen the truth your side of that they've left out, maybe that you want to include, and that'll give you an opportunity. So
evidence. Criminal charges on the de novo and the habeas corpus will be our request to release your stranglehold of your family.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a great way to do it. Like we should do the de novo, the habeas corpus, and there's a few others that we talked about too that you and me had talked about, Tamsin, when we spoke earlier about what you think what you suggested would be good ones too. So
yeah, Desiree had talked about the preliminary injunction. And
that was really one of them as well.
That's a great one too. I haven't tried that, but I want to do that with the class. Really, I do, because that'll eliminate it all for everybody, because they really don't have jurisdiction over the family unit like they do. It's not something.
There's case law that shows no subject matter jurisdiction, especially in our case.
Congress can't steal your children, so what makes them be able to delegate that power to an administrator?
Right, it's unlawful, and it's also in violation of federal law, whatever's going on here, and they're not supposed to be able to do that. But there is corruption going on, of course. But she's absolutely right. What she just said, they don't have the power or the right to delegate that power. Just like we the people delegate the power to the states, and then the states delegate it to the federal government. That's how it works. That's how it's supposed to work, not the other way around.
There's no
okay. I have a question. Okay, what can you file if you went to the state court and you requested your documentation and they said that your file has been sealed and destroyed? Is there anything you can request to show that, to have any weight?
Great question.
Or no? Thank you.
Haven't put it in writing and that you were there to get it, and it's not there.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I would probably either certify when certify mail a copy to yourself, and then certify mail when if you are going to file it with anything. Now, when you have a legal paper trail that's legally recognized by the courts to present, but it's got to be USPS. I don't think they recognize UPS because when I was first doing legal paperwork for my buddy, they wouldn't recognize it. Didn't count. It wasn't the same for whatever reason. So, but if you do a certified mail with USPS, it works. It's considered it's admissible in court. They go by that. So
Right. And I know it's an uphill battle for all of us, but you know what? Since it's growing, it's such an issue. It is such an issue for everybody. They are going to start listening. They will start following if they want to keep their jobs. There still will be those that aren't fearful of their jobs and will continue this because they've got honey pots or whatever the hell in our system. But regardless, we can always hope, and we can always try, and we can
right.
always
Exactly. And what you're talking about is pressure, putting pressure on all the rest, right? Like legal, but through what we're doing, the work we're doing.
because in all honesty, we all have the right to represent ourselves. We
We
shouldn't have
do.
to pay to fight for ourselves the way we do. And we all have the basic American values. And if it comes into the limelight like it is, they will start following it because they know better. You
Right.
know?
Right.
Yeah, it'll come around. We just have to keep trying.
And eventually their families could face potential attack on them.
Oh, and that's already happening. That's happened to such an extent where lawyers have to. The lawyer I know where I got the case,
Mhm.
he has to change hotel rooms every 2 days because of them. They threaten him so hard when he
That's
has.
scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very scary. They really are monsters.
They sure are.
Yeah, so it's brave to fight them and not comply. It's brave. So whoever's doing it, it's brave. You're not alone.
I think that the more stronger we become, the more weaker they get.
Yeah.
The light outshines their darkness, and people become
But
aware.
not only that, the numbers too, and like with all these people that are going through the same thing, like what have we noticed in the past year, Dottie? If you would like to come on camera, I want you to tell our viewers just in the last year from what happened to you. How many more people have started speaking out? How many more people are ready to fight back and do what they need to do? How many more parents have we seen across the board like that have been contacting us on the show trying to tell their story? Didn't we have one on Friday on our Fridays spur of the moment show?
I've been meeting hundreds of parents across the country since I've been drug into this whole mess. A lot of parents. It's almost every household if you think about it. It actually is every household because even if they realize it or not, this is going on in their family court cases. If there's any issue, if they realize this is happening to them, or if they think this is just the way it is. So, every case, basically, these kids are being trafficked in these courts on a daily basis, and they've been doing it for a really long time. I just watched a video over the weekend of a 13-year-old girl that didn't want to go with her dad, and he had court documents, and I guess he showed up there to take her. And I mean, these cops had this 13-year-old girl on the ground, and there was like 8 of them holding her down. They ended up like cuffing her ankles, cuffing her behind her back. And then the caption on the thing, I didn't see it, but it said that they ended up putting a helmet on her and injecting her with something with the needle. And then they took off with her. They left.
What? The daughter?
Yeah.
The girl?
I didn't see that. Yeah. The little girl, they said that they ended up, because she's screaming. She's crying.
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they ended up, cuffing her ankles together and handcuffing her. And in the caption, it said that they ended up putting a helmet on her and injecting her with some kind of needle and then taking off with her. I mean, it was pure child trafficking, what it was, regardless of who was standing there with what damn paperwork. That is child trafficking.
Yes, that's kidnapping through like force.
They arrested the mom. The mother went to jail. The little girl got, I mean, there was like 8 of them with their knees on her back and on her neck. And I mean, she's a 13-year-old girl. When a 13-year-old girl doesn't want to go with their dad, there's usually a reason.
That's right. That's right.
There's usually a reason.
Yes.
Abiding by CPS should know that CPS is the ones who tried to take their guns and funding during this BLM defund the police. They should know who started all that. It's the same people. So they should stop.
Wow, I did not know that. Thank you for that insight.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
that's deep.
BLM money is Act Blue PAC. Okay, that is all Democrat. The whole defund police was done by the HHS. The Democratic president had did all of this to them. That does not support the police. Okay, that would be HHS that did that. They want to take their guns. They want social workers to come in instead of police. They want all their money and guns. Okay, so there it goes. Police, stop sticking up for these people.
Wow. Okay.
And that's exactly what we're seeing happening too, isn't it?
That's right. Let it continue, and there will not be police with guns.
Well, the police have gotten so out of control.
That's right. Why do they want to take your guns away?
Well,
All right. Hey,
how are you going to defend yourself?
I have one of our viewers has a question. It looks like, or I'm just going to read their comment because the name is Jeff Glasser. I hope I pronounced that right. Sorry if I didn't. He says, I live in Michigan. I actually am in possession of a falsified, I believe he means falsified drug screen last year, July 3rd. I went in and took my drug test, and the caseworker wasn't paying attention. She put my actual drug test in the court packet, but she also added in a qualified drug screen for the same day.
Wow. You know, when I was ordered to do drug screens, you know, through DCS, I went and got my own independent, so I could just say, here, this is not true. This is my
same thing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff, for the comment. We appreciate it.
I did the same thing. I had my own
And,
hair follicle done so I could compare, just so they couldn't say something like that.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's good. That's good advice too, I think.
There is double billing at these labs that do the tests for a lot of them. If you look on the FBI page, a lot of Medicare facilities get charged by the FBI for double billing. Well, guess what? If they have fraudulent tests, then
that's fraud.
They could recharge Medi-Cal, double billing, double pay.
And that's racketeering right there too.
So these labs actually have a whole thing going where they do that. They have false tests and then have to retest it so they get double paid. Okay, and there's a whole bunch of reasons behind it.
Wow.
Well, I do know that.
Can I read? I would like to read his reply comment. He said, "There's no. I think he said he meant affidavit because they can get around telling the truth just by saying that it's the best of their belief, and then any attorney would tell you, well, there's nothing you can do because they truly believe it, even though they know it's not true." And we are seeing that as well. I think in these live cases, aren't we? Where they're not even presenting evidence. They're basically using just accusation and opinion and just hearsay.
Well, that's because these cases are fraudulent cases. They already know who the winner is, what they're going to do, and they'll do whatever it is to make that the end result. It doesn't matter what you present or what you say.
Right.
Either really, it doesn't even matter what they say. I don't understand why they go through the whole play of the bullshit anyway.
I know. Why would they even bother? Why they just come and take the kids and like the parents they are.
It's a mirage, I think.
I mean, why they go to court all this time?
I think what we're talking about doing is like holding them criminally accountable is basically what our method to what we're trying to do. Because we're having to because a lot of these releases are having to take these to
committing crimes.
Right. So that's going to be like is that where we're kind of what the approach we're taking, Desiree? Would you agree, or as well as the civil pursuit as well for lawsuit?
We don't have prosecutory powers as citizens, unfortunately. The only one to charge them is the DOJ.
Yeah, and see, they're completely fucking corrupt, complicit right now.
They're coming around, guys. Let me tell you, they are coming around.
I know they are because they're not having any choice because we're fucking providing pushback and calling them out on their bullshit.
Yeah, they understand what's going on now. They understand how traumatic and detrimental this whole issue is for all of us, and they have no other option if they want to continue. So
otherwise, they're gonna become extinct. I mean, they're just gonna become obsolete. Nobody's gonna freaking trust them anymore. And there goes the whole, it's not gonna happen. They realize that now because the public trust has been lost in these past.
Right. So we just need to get our story straight. Like with this timeline, again, you guys, we need to be able to relay the stories that they'll understand that what happened to us was wrong. Okay, it's important. Important to be
And it-
able
So we need to basically
Right.
put it together in a format that it's going to be easy for them to understand, for them to take it to the next level.
Isn't that funny? As the superior quote unquote people, yeah, we got to translate it for them.
That sucks, but you know what? It is what it is. But you know what? Isn't it great that we have a bunch of citizen people that are like so many of us are versed in legal expertise to some degree or another that we all bring to the table. I think.
Are you saying that we have to write it out, explain it to the superior court or the federal court?
To everybody, we want
all the
to.
yeah, we have to put it in a manner that they're going to understand in their court. Basically, I think she's saying.
Yeah,
Like you've
Like
been doing,
all
like
audience.
you've been doing with your situation with the
I know that
with the
she's
criminal
willing
court that
to
you're
be able to say
preparing
it
for and everything else.
exactly, clearly and concisely to the point we can keep their attention, that it's the right points to give them, and that they'll understand that what happened to us is wrong. Because at the moment, all they see is crazy.
Yeah, and also they can get an idea. Oh, never mind. Lost my train of thought.
So-
Sorry. Go ahead.
I think they're all aware of what's going on.
Child protection out of New Zealand says this is a massive problem on a global scale, and I completely agree because we've interviewed people. We've had an interviewee from UK, and I know that I've seen reports of this going on in other countries too. This is a massive problem on a global scale. We all need to get together and stand up for every child, and I completely agree. And that's kind of what we're all trying to get people to do too. We really appreciate your comment, Child Protection New Zealand. Thank you.
Thank you. It's economical cannibalism, and nobody knows how to survive without taking from others, and that's just not the higher way to be. So
It's not, and not only that, it's a failing business model. It's a self-destructive business model too, because ultimately it's
yeah.
self-defeating.
it
It's,
is
not patriotism.
productive.
Do you have that? I would love for you to. I mean, since we didn't have the other segment, I would love for you to read what you read from that book, that really good book that you got for 10 cents. That is like the rarest find I've ever seen anybody find in my life. Read what that first part that you read from me. That would be great. I think our viewers would get a lot of insight. And tell our viewers what year this was written and by whom and what happened, what they were just coming out of at that time when this was written.
Okay, well, it's Face the Facts by Manly P. Hall, and it was written in 1932, something like that. But it's about social and political. It's a political essay by him, and this is when they were coming out the Depression during that time, and he was talking about patriotism and what it means. It says a national force to depart from the gold standard may still occupy an honorable and respectable position in the league of human relationships, but a nation which for any reason whatsoever departs from the integrity standard is utterly and hopelessly lost. Honor is above money, and an honorable man is a priceless asset to any cultural system. The word of an honorable man is better security than the bond of a man whose soul is dedicated to profits. Integrity is the cornerstone of progress. Integrity is intelligent honesty. Integrity is the vision to see and the courage to do. Integrity is true wealth. The democratic form of government, the principles laid down by our forefathers, can only succeed with the people who are fundamentally intellectually honest. Intelligence without honesty produces exploitation. Honesty without intelligence lacks perceptive and vision, but united, they produce the integrity indispensable to the survival of an empire. You want me to keep going?
Yeah, do please do.
Yes, you got my attention.
There was some really good insight from that book.
Please.
And this guy came right out of this is
Manly
right
P.
when as they
Hall,
were coming
yeah,
out of the Depression. But what's happening then is happening now, you guys. It's the same kind of systemic corruption that's been infiltrated in our society. It's just history repeating itself. But a lot of what he says is relevant to our time, you guys. So I thought there was a valuable insight from generations past that I wanted to hear, you guys, our viewers to hear, really, because it's really good, insightful.
The key goes on to say, intelligent honesty is the most practical form of patriotism. Patriotism is the cooperation of masses, classes, and individuals to the accomplishment of a common good. Cooperation and not competition is the life of trade. Cooperation is patriotism. Competition is treason. Competition is the base of national dishonesty. Cooperation is a long-range selfishness. It consists in giving as much honesty value as possible in every transaction. It is the process by which a man ensures his own well-being by serving and protecting the well-being of the social order of which he is a part and upon which he depends for his own substance. Competition is short-range selfishness. It is the psychology and unreasonable profits and the false stimulation of trade. It is the process by which a man weakens the social structure by unwise exploitation and ultimately buries himself under the common ruin to which he is the contributing cause. The common good is that contentment and security of the greater number by which your own well-being is assured. The common good inevitably results from a common consideration of common problems and an application of common sense to the issue of living. Our present difficulties have arisen as the result of treasonable indifferences to those laws which govern the game of life. It is not difficult to analyze the present financial crisis. Its cause is apparent. The average 100% American is 100% selfish, and the 100% self-centered. In other words, he is a traitor to the common good and a menace to the integrity of his nation. As long as he lives to accumulate and not to share, the economic system will remain unsound.
And
Wow.
I think what he's getting at, he's getting at greed versus honest business practices. I think in that regard, because this guy came out of the depression, and like what happened at that time, did the stock market crash, you guys, but what happened, what was the cause of it? Well, there's a lot of really wealthy people, higher upper class, and that I think a similar situation is like happening now, where there's like just negligence and corruption because of those in power, whether it be corporate or other positions of power. I think a similar situation, like the corporate greed, it got bad, and then it collapsed the whole economy because as a result. And what he's talking about is, I believe, honest man and having integrity in your business practices, and doing things with honor, as opposed to being greedy and allowing yourself to be bought off or being complicit for the money. And I completely agree with his sentiment there, even though this is like a guy wrote this in 1932. I have a saying I like to quote for people. There's a fine line between greed and prosperity. And that's my quote on that, on that whole note too. Because like I found that, even in my own personal life, like in my business life, because I have a separate IT business. I'm an independent contractor that I do, and I'm an honest businessman. I don't believe in ripping people off. I think that's a failing business model ultimately. And I think when you do provide a service to people, you need to be able to connect with your customer and provide them the service that they need efficiently, effectively, with no hassle and no bullshit. And don't you be honest with your customer and you give them the straight answer, because that's going to be your bread and butter. And like and like what we're seeing right now with the state of the economy, like I've had oh my god, I've had like I've just had so many, like it's like these corporations are cutting corners everywhere and cutting their cutting costs, and it's like the customers are now getting the shit end of the stick. It really is. I mean, we got a $25 one-time fee that we don't even know what it's for from our internet provider, which I gotta take the time out of my day to call Monday, which is a pain in my ass, because they should be able to do their job and tell me what the heck's going on. But no, so it's like, and then I had a couple other issues with a few others, dude, and Amazon's gone to shit.
Okay, I have a comment to that with what you just
yeah, but I've
on.
seen a lot of shady business practices happening as of late with a lot of these companies that I normally would have trusted their business, and they're starting to see some really shady shit go on that I don't like, that they're doing it to the customers, and it's not cool. And it's kind of like, I don't even know if I want to do business with you anymore. Kind of sketchy, My point being, I think that what something similar is, he's talking about coming out of the Great Depression, and I totally agree with the sentiment. But go ahead and continue, Dottie. I would love for our viewers to hear a little more.
Well, I was just going to read this last part here.
Go
It
for
says, America is being betrayed by its own people. Do not die for your country, live for it. mold your civilization into a monument of honesty and enlightenment. Do not wait until you are down and out before you develop a democratic viewpoint. The world does not owe you anything, and you owe the world everything. In the hands of the average man rests the destiny of America. America is not only an opportunity, it is a responsibility. The American flag is not only the symbol of a great democratic nation, it is the evidence of the cooperation of mankind in the furtherance of civil liberty, equal opportunity, and equal responsibility. If we want America to regain its position of prosperity and opportunity, we must invest ourselves in America. Do not wait for your dollar to work yourself. Do not lean lift. With common sense, honesty, and hard work, we can lift ourselves out of our present situation by our own bootstraps. All it will take is a little real Americanism.
Wow.
I love that passage really inspired the shit out of me, and I was like, "Whoa, that's some good stuff. That's some good, real insight." I mean,
That's my good find yesterday. 10 cents.
Yeah, I mean,
This is a $1,200 book.
and you couldn't even
online.
find it online to get a reference for like that particular edition, even could you? How rare it is.
Yeah, not this particular one, but yeah, it's about online. It goes for about $1,200, and I found it at a yard sale yesterday for 10 cents.
That's such a
Wow.
good
Great
find.
find.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I
it was.
wanted a
Also-
Manly P. Hall book, but they're too much money. His books go for a lot of money, so that was
That was a steal. That was a bargain.
Can you guys hear me? I guess,
yeah.
can
and
you hear me?
It's got some really good, like profound words in it. So
I'd keep that one in a safe just for safekeeping.
yeah.
That was great. I think that would be we had a great show. And is there anything else anybody wanted to talk about? I think I think that would be a great way to wrap up the segment. What do you guys think?
Well, that's just what we're gonna have to do for our children is become a little bit more American. Stand up for ourselves.
Yep.
Be honest.
Because it's time. Like there's no going back. You pick now. You got to pick. You're on. You're for the better good or you're not.
It's
You
now
can't
or
be
never.
left
It's like we
behind.
have to make a choice and start fighting for these kids. And not
There's
only them,
no-
but for everybody else that's being affected.
Yeah.
Not just the family court corruption, but the medical corruption that's going on and all the corruption on a global scale. We all have to unite as citizens of Earth and stand up and do our due diligence to start doing what we can to help end this, because this has gone too far. And I mean doing it on the front, whether it be providing pressure by doing by everybody, whether it be mass call-ins to put pressure on you, but I'm not talking about any kind of physical violence. I'm talking about there are things that we can do, you guys. There's many things that we can do to put pressure on them and force their hand, but we have to be strategic about it, and we have to be lawful about it, and we have to be we can't stoop to their level, is what I'm trying to get at. Does that make sense?
Well,
Say that one more time.
And here, yeah.
One more time.
Here, yeah.
I said you said that perfectly.
Nice, thank you. I think we will wrap it up on that note. I think that was a great show, you guys. That was brilliant, and I think we should definitely do a weekly follow-up with Desiree on what people could do to help themselves. And I think that would be a great additional segment. Maybe even do a separate a weekly thing. Have you you want to, if you want to run that, like I would love for you to be on our network to help our people that watch our show, and we'll collaborate together.
Desiree, can I talk to you? May I talk to you after the show?
Just call me.
Hear
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Call you. Okay, so I have permission to give you her number. I'll give her your number.
This phone's gonna die on me pretty soon.
Okay, so shall I give her your Facebook and your number then to reach out to you and email? Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Sounds good. All right, I will do that after. I'll give you her contact info, Tamsin, after the show, and we'll so you can contact her. Awesome.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much for your just ability and openness to willingness to come on the show and help our everybody that watches our show, and a lot of the people that may need this kind of help. We really appreciate it, Desiree. Thank you.
For holding the platform. It's brave.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I guess somebody's got to do it, right? I mean, it sure as hell didn't look like anybody else was. So I said, well, why not me? I have the ability, so let's just do it. All right. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate all our viewers watching our show, and we will thank you, Child Protection New Zealand. We appreciate your input, and I hope you keep following our page and watch our shows. We love interacting with our customers. We want to change the world for the better, and we appreciate everything you guys bring to the table too, our viewers. Good night, everybody. Thank you for watching.
Night.
Good night.
Thank you.